anyone think Clark Lea may regret not just staying at Notre Dame another year or two and maybe getting another Power 4 job? I mean, I think it's a real conversation. I was on a show and talked about that the other day. Well, his truthisms from SEC Media Days, what he would really say. I think that's something he would say. I know it's his alma mater. He played there. But again, no offense to Vanderbilt, but this is the toughest job in college football in today's college football landscape. It is. I don't even think there's really a close second. You factor in, obviously, academics, everybody knows. They're not spending a bunch of money on NIL, collective. It's just a tough job. Your best players like Will Shepard are transferring to Georgia. You have your starting quarterback, A.J. Swan, going to be a backup at LSU. Your best players just leave on a regular basis. It's by far the toughest job in the sport right now. But I'm here to give you the three biggest what-ifs for the Vanderbilt Commodores as we head into the 2024 college football season. I am your host, Dave Shumate, guys, a long-time college football personnel guy, worked in college athletics for 9-10 years, worked in the SEC and college football personnel recruiting departments for 7 years. So I'm bringing you the college football analyst expertise side of things here. But specifically here, I'm giving you the three biggest what-ifs for the Vanderbilt Commodores heading into 2024. But before we get to it, we got to pay some bills. And that starts off with our buddies over at SeatGeek, guys. I just moved to Atlanta. As you can tell, we're not in the normal studio. We're getting that ready now. But been to a couple Braves games, going to more Braves games. I use our guys SeatGeek all the time, guys. And if you're a first-time user, use code SECU for $20 off your first purchase, guys. You're not going to regret it. Even if you're not a Major League Baseball fan, you're in Atlanta for the Georgia-Clemson game come Labor Day weekend, week 1. You use our guys SeatGeek. I know that's a noon kick, so heck, you can still log in probably 6-7 a.m. a couple hours for the game, still get some tickets. But again, guys, if you're a first-time user, use code SECU for $20 off. So let's get to why you're here. The segment: What if Vanderbilt? What are the three biggest what ifs for Vanderbilt football heading into 2024? First, what if Vanderbilt doesn't finish in the bottom third of the SEC in rushing offense? What if they don't? What if they're better than that? Vanderbilt offense was just a revolving door this past offseason. First, you're bringing in offensive coordinator Tim Beck. I'm not talking about the head coach at Coastal Carolina. I'm talking about the OC that came over from New Mexico State. Second, you're going for more of a pro spread attack. Remember, A.J. Swan, he's now at LSU, to more of an option-based type system. I mentioned A.J. Swan transferred out to LSU, but Beck didn't come empty-handed. He brought in quarterback Diego Pavia. Auburn fans, SEC fans remember it. He was the quarterback at Whitney Jordan-Hare in late November. He got a W. SEC fans should remember him. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He got the stunning win at Auburn. But while not guaranteed the job, because remember, Utah backup transfer Nate Johnson, who got the start against Florida last year and got a win. But both Diego Pavia and Nate Johnson are 2-0 versus the SEC out last year. Pavia getting the win against Auburn, and then Nate Johnson in week 1 against Florida last year. And they both fit that spread, that option system of Tim Beck's or really well, I should say. But I think Pavia has the leg up going into it. Johnson limited it in the passing department. But again, I think they fit this spread offense perfectly. Vanderbilt's run game in 2023 was second to last in the SEC with just 1,144 yards. They averaged 95.3 per yards on the ground, 3.3 per carry. But Cedric Alexander's back after leading the Commodores in rushing and will probably be more of a little bit of a committee approach. I mean, you got A.J. Newberry's coming in. Chase Gillespie's another guy coming in. I remember recruiting him when I was at UCF. But one thing to keep in mind, don't be shocked with this new system Tim Beck's bringing if a Vanderbilt quarterback, like I mentioned, Pavia or Johnson, I lean towards Diego, leads the Commodores in rushing. I don't think this is that big of a what if because I think the quantity of reps you're going to get here, there's going to be a lot of rushing attempts. Pavia's proved he can do it against SEC competition. Is it going to be consistent? I don't know that. But I think they're going to have a better running game this year, just off system alone. So what if that happens? That's probably a little likely. Second what if? What if the secondary is improved? There's some returning talent in the secondary, but that may not be the best thing after the Commodores finished 126th against the pass last season. It's awful. I mean, it's why Clark Lea made a change at both coordinator positions. But don't be surprised if the newcomers do a lot of the heavy lifting. There's one foundational block, though. Remember, linebacker C.J. Taylor is now transferred to or moved back up to safety. He's at safety now. He had 55 tackles, 7.5 tackles for a loss. He had a pair of interceptions in 23. So I think he's going to be the key factor, leader back then. Marlon Jones from Eastern Washington did well in the spring, impressed a lot of people at corner, and he should be able to – and he's going to be returning Martell Height, who got some work as a freshman last year and showed some promise as well. So it's one of those things. It's like you finished 126 against the pass last year defensively. Not good. Is that good that you have people back, or do you need some change? It sounds like it's a good mixture. You got C.J. Taylor, who they probably don't want to move back, which it's always interesting. Like I was never a big DeRicky Wright fan that they played last year. He was very limited athletically, would get exposed last year. What was it? Ole Miss game, even just 2 years ago. Jackson Dart and our guy had a massive game in Nashville. Forget the receiver for Ole Miss is off the top of my head. Had a massive game. It's just how good can this Vanderbilt be? And the what if the secondaries improve? Yeah, I'm not overly as confident as I am in them not finishing in the bottom third of rushing offense in the SEC. I'm actually more confident in the first what if, just because I think the system. But this secondary has improved, maybe just a little bit. But again, everybody's pretty thin in the secondary now when you're playing 5-6 defensive backs in your nickel dime packages now, with it being so offensive heavy, spread heavy. So Vanderbilt's, I mean, if Alabama's thin in the secondary, if Florida's a little thin in the secondary, Vanderbilt's going to be too. So improvement, it depends how you define it. And then finally, what if Vanderbilt doesn't win a conference game again? I mean, Clark Lea overall, he's 9-27 at his alma mater, 2-22 in conference play and SEC play. Remember, those 2 wins came in the 2022 season against Florida at home and at Kentucky, if you remember that, I believe back-to-back weeks. But let's share the schedule. Like, what if they do go winless in the SEC again? At Missouri, I don't see them getting. I just don't see them getting them. Alabama, I don't see them getting. I think Kentucky's going to be pretty good this year. I don't see them getting. Texas at home, I don't see them getting. At Auburn, and Auburn wasn't great last year and handled Vanderbilt. I think Auburn's going to be an improved team. I don't see that. Let's come back to this one, the South Carolina game on November 9th. At LSU, they're not going to get. In Tennessee at home, they're not going to get to finish up the season. Circle, if you're a Vanderbilt fan, I encourage you to circle the November 9th game. I mentioned our buddies at SeatGeek getting tickets from them. If you're a Vanderbilt fan and you want to go see your team potentially win one conference game this year, probably go buy tickets from our SeatGeek guys. Use the 20% off or the $20 off using the SECU code. Probably go use it for that South Carolina Gamecock game on November 9th. Not saying it's going to happen, but it's probably your most likely, because I could see South Carolina with an Norris Sellers, first-year starter. The offensive line hasn't stayed healthy, I feel like, for over a decade. Maybe they come in a little banged up. You get them in the month of November on the back half of the season. Maybe Vanderbilt gets a couple breaks. The ball bounces their way. It's at home. That's the most likely win. But to the point, what if they do? I think that'd be big for Clark Lea. I mean, let's give them Alcorn State and Ball State. That's two. I'm not sold they beat first-year head coach Del McGee and the boys at Georgia State. They go at Georgia State, at Turner Field, or I should say Center Park Stadium. But I don't think that's an automatic win. So I think if they won a conference game, they're probably in that 4 to 5 win range, because I think they're going to beat Alcorn State. They're going to beat Ball State. No, realistically, I take that back. They're going to be in that 3 to 4 win range. I think if they win a conference game, probably in that 4 win range. If they go 0 for 8, it's going to be another 3-win season, which, again, wouldn't be well. But I asked Vanderbilt fans, I asked people, who would you go hire? It's for sure going to go win, get you back to 5-7 wins. 5-6 wins is what you would like if you're a Vanderbilt fan. Just getting the bowl eligibility in this landscape, this ecosystem of college football. That is so hard. It's just so hard. I even think our guy Clark Lea would tell us that, who's a proud Vanderbilt alum. Like, it's just a hard place to win. I don't really think it's him. Just think right now, sorry, Vanderbilt fans, it's just a tough place to win. You got to figure out what you want to be. What you want to be. Are you going to go invest in football or whatnot? I mean, you even see Tim Corbin and the boys struggling a little bit just due to lack of adjusting to the landscape now. But, guys, that's it. I appreciate you joining us on this segment. Again, guys, the 3 biggest what-ifs for the Vanderbilt Commodores heading into the 2024 season. First, what if Vanderbilt doesn't finish in the bottom third of the SEC in the rushing offense in 2024? I think this is likely. Tim Beck bringing over that option-based offense, Diego Pavia. If he doesn't work out, Nate Johnson, the backup quarterback against Utah. Remember, they're both 2-0 against SEC competition last year. I think naturally you're going to see more rushing attempts. I actually feel decently confident about this one. The second, what if the secondary improves? They got some guys returning, brought in some new guys. I don't know. Everybody's so thin on the back end, and Vanderbilt's towards the bottom tier. Don't really believe in that one, really. And what if Vanderbilt doesn't win a conference game? I lean towards they don't. I'm sorry, Vanderbilt fans. If that makes you not like me, I shoot you straight. We're not going to BS around here. I just don't see it likely. But again, if it does happen, it's probably that November 9th game at home against South Carolina. But guys, I appreciate you joining us on this segment of what are the three biggest what ifs of the Vanderbilt Commodore 2024 college football season. I appreciate you joining us on this segment. We're coming out again. I'm your host, Dave Shumate, coming at you here from the SEC Unfiltered platform. Guys, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Tell me why I'm wrong and why Vanderbilt's going to win a conference game or two. Tell me, guys. I'd love to hear why. Not saying you're wrong. We'd just like to hear it from you guys. But I appreciate you joining us. You have a phenomenal weekend.